बढ़िया वाली मशीन खरीदेगा
हाँ क्या
आराम से कपड़ा साथ
वहाँ से क्या बोलते हैं जब वहाँ से बैठ लेना बस में
प्रेस कर किया
खागा वाली बस में
खुले थे सारे
फोन कर देना हम आगे तुम बता देंगे तुम वहाँ तब जाना
ये घुस जाते कपड़ा
हम आ जाएंगे चले चलेंगे दोनों लोग कुछ इधर से कहो उधर से चले खागा तरफ से कहो खागा तरफ से चले चले इधर से अरे मेरी साल चले तुमको चौराहा दिखा देंगे ठीक है
तुम तो किसी हनीमून की बात
कर रहे हो
मेरी समझ
क्या क्या बोलते हैं मम्मी से पूछ लेना
देखो लाइव दिखा रहे अपने चैनल पे एमआई वालों का लॉन्च 2 फ़ोन लॉन्च हुआ है ना Redmi Note 5 और Note 5 Pro
Good afternoon.
इंडिया में
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. To everybody who's sitting here and to more than 1 million Me fans who are watching us live right now. This is probably one of the biggest ever launch event live stream. And I'm so glad that I don't have a single Valentine, but I have so many millions of Valentines. And also so happy that you guys have decided to spend this special day with us. So thank you so much, guys. My name is Manu Jain. I'm a global VP with the firm, and I head Xiaomi's business in India. Let me start by sharing a really great news, which is Xiaomi has become the 4th largest smartphone brand in the world. And that too in a market which is declining year on year. Thank you. If you look at all the brands, they've seen a decline from 2016 to 2017. And Xiaomi is the only brand which has been growing at 97% year on year. And of course, if you look at our India business, we continue to remain the #1 brand. We became #1 in Q3, and again in Q4, we were the #1 brand in India. If you look at the latest IDC report, which came out yesterday, we are now the undisputed #1 brand with about 27% market share. Thank you. And if you look at just the online segment, we are the dominating #1 brand. We have 57% market share, which is approximately 6x.
चैनल एक ओपन कर दिया था
This is about 6x bigger than the second biggest brand in the online segment. Now, we were always selling products online, and about a year ago, we decided to also build our offline business. And happy to share that in such a short period of 9 months, Xiaomi has become the second biggest brand in offline with 11% share. Now, this has been possible because of the amazing products that we have. If you look at the top 10 selling smartphones in Q4 2017, 6 out of 10 were Xiaomi phones. And a big shout out to all our Me fans, because this wouldn't have been possible without you guys. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for supporting our business for last 3 years. Now, I also want to take a moment and talk about the Xiaomi philosophy. We are not about sales. We really want to become friends with our Me fans. So how do we become friends?
वो लाइव कहीं और चल रहा है लेकिन मैं दिखा रहा हूँ अपने चैनल पे
innovative, products with very high specs. But more than just specs, we also focus on quality.
मैं नहीं डाला
And then what we do, what I call is honest pricing. We always try
मेरे
and
चैनल
price
का
our
नाम
products
देखेंगे
at
वो
cost,
रिकमेंडेड दिखा रहा
and we
है
try and make them available to you guys at lowest possible price. Take an example of Redmi Note 4. Amazing specs, great quality, unbeatable price. And that's why Redmi Note 4 was the #1 selling phone in 2017. We shipped out more than 9.6 million phones in just one single year.
थोड़ा 3 सेकंड
And not just these amazing sales, this was also one of the highest.
मैं पीछे नहीं हूँ मैं तो
For
उसका
example, if you
सेम
go to
चल रहा है
Flipkart,
लेकिन
more
जो
than
मैं
1
दिखा
million
रहा हूँ ना
people wrote positive comments about Redmi Note 4 on the platform. A
अरे
lot of
मैं
people said
दिखा
great
रहा हूँ
things.
बाकी
For example, Android Authority said this was the
जो
well-rounded
पहले मैं
package,
कह रहा हूँ वो बताओ
or I would say this was India's all-rounder phone. Some people also said this is the phone to beat in 2017. And I personally believe there was no phone which even came close to beating Redmi Note 4. So today here we are. We're about to launch a phone which we think will beat Redmi Note 4. And this phone is Redmi Note 5. Give me 5. We think this is an all-rounded upgrade to Redmi Note 4. And to talk more about this, I'll call on stage Sir Jaimani. Give me 5.
Thank you, Manu. Hello, everyone. How are you guys? My name is Jay Mani, and I'm the lead product manager for Xiaomi here in India. And as Manu mentioned, today we're here to talk about Redmi Note 5.
Redmi Note 5
Now, it's easy to think that a phone is just about the
हम नहीं
specs.
जानते
But we believe that there's more to it than that. And our goal has always been to help you understand more about our products beyond just what you see in a video. And I personally believe that's the reason why we've been so successful here in India. So today, we have some really cool stuff to show you. And I
अरे
hope
रुक
you
जा
enjoy it. So Redmi Note 5, it's an all-around upgrade. We kept the same great things that made Redmi Note 4 best-selling phone in India, but we upgraded everything else. And the three main areas I want to talk about are design, camera, and quality. So first up, let's start with design. We have a really awesome video to show you. So let's run.
साला तो कहे चलेगा ईयरफोन से
लाइव है तो ईयरफोन से नहीं चलेगा
नहीं 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 वॉइस जो जा रही है ना मेरे ईयरफोन से वॉइस जाने लगेगी
कहाँ बात
इसमें सुनाई देने लगेगी हाँ मेरे चैनल पे है लाइव देखना सबको सुनाई दिया ना मैं लगा दूंगा अपना माइक एक्स्ट्रा ना तो हम जो बकायती गई थी एक वीडियो तो है चली जो हम जो बकायती गई थी वह सुनाई यही होता था इसीलिए तेरा फोन कर जी हाँ वीडियो बंद हो जाएगा ये है Redmi Note 5 तीन से ज़्यादा नहीं
That video is so awesome. If we
आज
had
एक
time,
घंटा
I
से
would run that
एक घंटे
again. But we
चलेगा
got a lot of
एक
stuff to
घंटा
talk
पूरा
about today,
चलाओ
so let's keep going. So the biggest upgrade that we made when it comes to Redmi Note 5's design is the display. Redmi Note 5 has a 5.99-inch full HD plus display. And this is the first phone that we've released with these larger aspect ratios since
लाइव दिखा
So if you look at Redmi Note 4, it's pretty much what all phones have looked like for the last few years. The 5.5-inch 60 by 9
4-5
display.
घंटे
But
का
when we
आवा था
compare it to Redmi Note 5,
7 घंटे का 1 घंटे का
we've
लाइव है
reduced the borders on the top and bottom significantly.
हाँ हाँ
And we've
ये
used
देखो
all that
720p
space
से
to give you
480
more
पिक्सल पे कर
display.
दिया है
It's actually 12.5% more display area in a similar
10,000
form factor.
ज़्यादा
So we've removed the stuff
12-13
that you
हज़ार ज़्यादा
don't
प्राइस
need
नहीं है
and given you a
सारे
bigger
फोन्स
screen.
की
And when you start using phones like this,
Redmi Note 4 इतना बड़ा,
any other
Note 4
phone
इतना बड़ा।
just feels old. Even phones that were released this month, they just feel old. So what can you do with that extra space? Well, if you haven't used it before, it's really great, particularly for web pages where you have more content. You don't have to scroll as much. It's really good for gaming. You either get more space to give you an advantage, or you have bigger touch targets, so you can be more accurate. And Redmi Note 5 also has a similar premium metal body with a tapered back edge. Actually, it's difficult to see here on the slide, but if you compare the taper to Redmi Note 4, the slide here, the angle here is adjusted by a couple of degrees, so it feels smoother, it fits in closer with the edge. When you compare it in the demo zone, you'll see that it feels a lot better in the hand. Another big change we made is that it's a lot thinner. Redmi Note 5 is 8.05 millimeters thick. It's almost half a millimeter thinner than the Redmi Note 4, and it's the thinnest Redmi Note we've ever made. And it still, most importantly, has the same great 4000 mAh battery. So we've made the phone thinner, but we've kept the battery the same. And I think the best part of the Redmi Note 5 design is that it feels modern, but it also is familiar. It looks like a Redmi Note. Here's a look from both the front and the back. Beautiful white and gold.
The best.
We've also added a new and elegant rose gold, perfect for Valentine's Day today.
माइक लगा दूंगा अभी इसमें आने लगा।
And a color that some of you might be familiar with. A lot of people ask me about this.
मैं लाइक
Lake
लगा के
blue.
दिखा दूंगा
This was
आपको।
really popular when we released it with Redmi Note 4 towards the end of last year.
अच्छा तुम्हारा चैनल कौन सा?
So Redmi Note 5 comes in 4 colors: black, gold, rose gold, and lake blue. The design has smaller borders with more display. It's a thinner body with the same battery life, and it still feels great in the hand. Now let's talk about the camera. We've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys on the cameras for Redmi Note 3 and Redmi Note 4, and we worked hard to make changes this year. A lot of people said that the camera of Redmi Note 4 was good as long as the lighting was good, but it started to struggle in low light. So we wanted to change that this year, and we made a bunch of improvements. So let me start with the rear camera. So we've upgraded the rear camera sensor to have a large 1.25 micron pixels. This helps a lot with low light photography, and it's similar to what we had in the main sensor of the Mi A1. It's one of the reasons why people love that camera so much. And actually, this is the only phone in the segment to have these kind of pixels. So your photos will look brighter and crisper, especially in low light. And compared to Redmi Note 4, it has about 25% more pixel area. And when compared to the 1 micron pixels on Redmi Note 3, it's about 56% more light. So the low light performance on Redmi Note 5 is significantly better than our previous generation Redmi Notes. So let's take a look at a couple of snaps. This photo here, there's 2 things to notice. If you look at the sharpness on all edges here, really, really crisp, but also the dynamic range. Different petals on this building have different light. You have some parts that are in shadow, you have kind of a yellow light here, a red light here, and it all comes out well. This shows a lot of the power of our HDR algorithm. This photo is again taken in low light. All of the lights are off here. It's taken towards the evening, but you can still see a lot of the details in the shop, even though it's dark in there. It shows a lot about good white balance and exposure. This image shows our contrast and again, auto white balance. You can see the white color of the mushrooms, but there's still bright colors everywhere else in the image. And then even the browns look good here. So photos, and especially low light photos, are a lot better on Redmi Note 5. And it's not just the rear camera. We've also added an LED selfie light on the front. So you have better low light photos, both on the front camera and on the back camera. So now let's talk about quality. I think usually when people talk about focusing on India, they're talking about things like localization, translating the I mean, these are things that we did in MIUI 3 years ago. But the customizations that we're talking about here, the things that we did specifically for India, for Redmi Note 5, they all have to do with improving the quality. This is something that Manu talked about, and it's something that we've been focused on for the last year. Our components are sourced from first-class suppliers, and for Redmi Note 5, we raised our standards even more. Redmi Note 4 had a single pyrolytic graphite sheet, and this decreases the surface temperature on your phone by about 1 degree. In Redmi Note 5, we have dual pyrolytic graphite sheets, mouthful, dual pyrolytic graphite sheets, and this further decreases the temperature by another 1 degree to give you 2 degrees total cooler surface temperatures. This is something that we first started talking about with Mi A1, and this is something that we're continuing here with Redmi Note 5. Redmi Note 5 also comes with the charger designed for India. It's a brand new charger that we had to make, and it helps handle power spikes, which are especially common here in India during the summers. Now, the operating voltage of this adapter is the same, but what it's designed to do is handle voltage spikes up to 380 volts. And these are the types of spikes that can destroy your charger, and in the worst case, can destroy your phone. So we've made a specific charger here in India to improve the quality on Redmi Note 5. Redmi Note 5 also has Gorilla Glass, which is something that I think has been asked for quite a few times. And in terms of testing and QA standards, we're actually using many of the same tests that we use on our flagship Mi series. We have a cool video to show you some of these tests. Let's take a look at that now.
At Xiaomi, we strive to serve the best to our Mi fans. Our Redmi series is built with them in mind. Quality products at an honest pricing. Every Redmi device is subjected to more than 4,000 software and hardware tests during the research and development stage. Any failed test leads to a complete redesign of the product. We run with the belief that the more tests we do, there will be fewer problems in the future. We run with the belief that the stricter our tests are, there would be fewer issues faced in the future. At Xiaomi, we believe that quality control is a collaborative effort from the entire team. Quality first has always been the core of Xiaomi and will always continue this way for a long time. Innovation decides how high we soar, while quality defines how far we go.
By the way, please don't try any of that at home. We did that so that you don't have to. If you want, I can send you the video, but don't do that to your phone, please. So here are some of the tests that we are talking about. Again, these are many of the same durability tests that we run on our Mi phones. I doubt that many of you would use your fingerprint sensor over 600,000 times. So that's Redmi Note 5. We've upgraded 3 key areas: design, camera, and quality. And people really loved Redmi Note 4 for its great performance and battery life. And so Redmi Note 5 continues that legacy. It has Snapdragon 625. Oh, a cheers. Thank you.
625.
I agree. We agree. And last year we spent a lot of time talking about why. We talked about 14 nanometer FinFET, and I don't think anybody before this had talked about that. And I think many of you were skeptical at the time. Now we got cheers. Thank you. And it turns out that we were right. It turns out that millions of people love the performance on Redmi Note 4. And so we use the same processor because it still gives great power efficiency and great thermal performance. And of course, we've also kept the 4000 mAh battery, which is something that we pioneered here first with Redmi Note 3. Once you start using one of these phones, it just spoils you. It's really difficult to switch to anything else. So that's Redmi Note 5. It's India's all-rounder. All right, now let's talk about price, which I think might still be a surprise.
Redmi Note 5.
So when we do the comparison, you can see that we took the stuff that made Redmi Note 4 such an easy phone to recommend and really made it the best-selling phone in India Snapdragon
नहीं नोट
625,
4 है नोट
4000 mAh battery.
नोट 5
And we
की प्राइसिंग
upgraded
अभी नहीं
everything
दिखाई
else.
332 वाली
You have a full screen display, 5.99
जल्दी
inches,
दिखा दे
in a similar size body. You have better low light performance with the bigger pixel rear sensor and an LED selfie light. So last year, we sold the 332 version for 10,999 with Redmi Note 4.
बहुत सही 10,000 मन कर लेगा तेरी कितना जमा कौन 10,000 में 332 वाला अरे तेरी की कत ले ले वो तुरंत ले
This year, we're starting with the 3 gigabyte version at an amazing price of
Redmi
9,999.
Note
You
5
cannot find a phone like
बहुत
this
जबरदस्त
at that price.
332
एक महीने बाद
So the
वो
4GB version,
8,000
which
के
was
बिकी
the most popular version
8,000
last
आ
year,
जाएगी
and it
464
is
की
still
प्राइसिंग 13,000 है
the best-selling
नहीं
phone
13,000
at
नोट
this
4
price.
की अबे ओके प्राइस बताइए रुक
So
जाओ
with Redmi Note 5,
1000 सस्ते हुई होगा
we wanted to do even
1000
better.
सस्ते हुई 11,000
We've taken the
12,000
4GB version
11,000
and made it
या 1,000
11
सस्ता
triple.
बहुत सही फोन है यार जबरदस्त फोन है 4,000 में उसकी बैटरी है 625 अब ये अगले महीने आ जाइए हमारे
So
यहाँ
again, let's take a look at the comparisons here.
एक ना ले
You
बेटा
have
ले Redmi Note
the
5
same
Pro ले
great
उमा
phone
डुअल
with
कैमरा
a
ना
bigger
पीछे
display, better
उसकी
camera,
प्राइस 1,000 महंगी
and a
है
better price. It's
अब
awesome.
वो कल लॉन्च करें वो कब बताऊँ मैं ना क्या बात है
We've also made an ultra slim case.
अच्छा
It
बैक
looks
कवर
great,
ववर
and
सही दे
most
साफ दे
importantly,
हैं
it actually protects your phone really well.
फुल मेटल बॉडी है चार्ज का
So pretty
चाहिए
much everybody we talk to has a case, and when we look at the reviews of some of the popular ones,
सॉफ्ट केस जो है
they're not
अमेजन
that
सेल
great.
करा थी
And
300
most of
रुपया
these
से
cases are around $200 to $300.
फ्री दे हैं
So with Redmi Note 5,
फ्री है पैक का अरे वो बात अलग ही कहा के लिए तो
we've
नहीं है
included
ना
this case in the box.
अब वो
And
लॉन्च तो
because
पहले
it's
के
from
बारे में पूरा
Xiaomi,
बता दे
because
तो
it's
वो
our
लॉन्च
case,
करें
you know that it's high quality and the fit is really,
Amazon
really
मांगा
good.
हुई
You know, I've heard from a lot of people
कहीं
who
नहीं
order our
है।
phones
हमारा भी
and
खाली
then
लॉन्च
buy the
है
case separately
कंप्लीट होई के
and have to
मतलब
wait
अभी
a few
खाली
days
बना है
before the
कंप्लीट
case
करके वहाँ
comes.
दिखाई
And they're
बन गया
protecting
है
their
स्टॉक
phone
है
religiously. They
बस
don't remove the
पहले
plastic. I
सबसे
saw
पहले
somebody
स्टॉक आएगा
who was
Redmi
carrying their Redmi Note
सेल
4
आएगी
around
Redmi
in the
Note
box,
उसकी Redmi की
which I thought was pretty
एप्लीकेशन
ridiculous.
की सेल आएगी
So now we have the case included in all devices.
ऑनलाइन
for
Redmi
free.
की सेल आएगी सबसे पहले Redmi ऐप से
So that's it.
That's
Redmi
it.
Note
Yeah.
5. It's India's
Note
all-rounder. Big upgrade to
Change the
design,
screen.
especially
Camera का
with the
कितने
full
का
screen
है?
display.
12
Low
12
light
का
camera
बैक कैमरा है
improvements,
और
both to the
कितना
front
है
and back.
LED फ्लैश है
And
फ्लैश
importantly, a lot of
Front
quality
में
screen
improvements,
HD
specifically
है।
here for
फुल
India.
HD है
And we still
फुल
have
HD
मतलब धूप
the
में भी
best
खड़े हो
in-class
जाओ तो
battery
कम
life
इफेक्ट
and
ना पड़े
performance.
फुल एचडी में
It also comes with the
पंचिंग के
ultra
लिए खड़े
slim
हो जाओ तो
case.
ब्राइटनेस बढ़ा पर तो वो ऑटोमेटिक
और
होती है
फ्रंट में हुआ है कहा कहते हैं
So
फ्लैश
Redmi Note
भी है
5, it's an all-around upgrade to what is still today one of
जिस
India's
का ये कलर नया
best-selling
निकाला
phones.
पर्पल वाला
ये दोनों बीच
ये
वाले
देख,
कलर
फोटो
नए
देख।
And this
Photo
photo is from a trip that we made a couple weeks ago visiting Mi fans around the
ऐसे
country.
हाथों में फोन हो ये
ना वो
We
लिया
really believe in
रिमोट
Redmi
लिया
Note 5,
स्क्रीन का
but many
वो
of
कर रहा है
you
ना
have asked us for more. And so
पीछे दिखा रहा है
for
लाइव
that,
से दिखा
we have Redmi Note 5
वो
Pro.
ये कहाँ से फोन आने वाला है। ये फोन 660 प्रोसेसर के साथ पहला फोन है साल का
This is the global debut of Redmi Note 5 Pro. This is the first time you'll see this
यही खत्म
anywhere
हो रहा था
in the
बड़े दिन
world.
से
And again, I want to emphasize that we don't just say we focus on India because it sounds good.
ग्लोबल डेब्यूट है
We are
पहला
the
debut है
only
ना।
company that is
Pro पे पहला
consistently
फोन है ये।
launching new products here
किसी series
in
में।
India first. And so Redmi Note 5
636
Pro,
पहला फोन इंडिया में फर्स्ट टाइम पहली
it is
इस साल का पहला फोन
also
636
the
का।
first device in the world to come with Qualcomm Snapdragon
इंडिया नंबर 1
636
टीवी में नहीं
mobile
देखते
platform.
हर उम्र
Yeah,
आते
the
इंडिया
first device in the world. And again, this is the third year in a row that we're doing that.
औकात माई की ना
First,
बहुत सस्ता
we
ये
did
सस्ता ही रहेगा
Snapdragon 650 with Redmi Note 3. Last year, Snapdragon 625 with Redmi Note 4. And
अगले
this
महीने
year,
ये वाला फोन
Snapdragon
हमें और मोबाइल
636
फोटो खींच
with the
के
Redmi Note 5
रसीद
Pro.
सहित ओका एलेक्स में डालो
So it's not
11000 का
नहीं पहले ये हो जाए 12
just
बजे
a
खत्म
statement.
1 बजे खत्म हो
We
जाएगी
actually
ढेर लंबे वो एलेक्स में
launched
ढूंढते रहते
things,
फोन
new technologies here in India first. And we're really, really proud of that. So, people love the performance of Redmi Note 3. And that was because it had those flagship grade A72 cores in them. So Snapdragon 636 comes with the latest Cryo microarchitecture. And for those of you who don't know Cryo, they are Qualcomm's semi-custom CPU based on ARM Cortex technologies. Now these Cryo cores are previously exclusive to 800 series phones. Things like the Snapdragon 820 and the Snapdragon 835. And Snapdragon 636 comes with Cryo 260. These are based on the flagship grade ARM A73 core. And here are some of the benefits you can see here. It has up to 50% better performance and is almost 40% more power efficient. And Cryo260 isn't just about peak performance, it's also a huge improvement to sustained performance. So you have flagship performance for a long period of time because it's optimized for efficiency. And Snapdragon 636 comes with 4 performance Cryo cores, and this is the anywhere near this price, which has flagship ARM cores in it. There are also 4 Cryo cores for the power cores, which are based on 853. So you might have seen this before, but what does this all mean in practice? What do we actually get? Well, of course, we ran onto 2 on it, and I think the results are pretty cool.
10,000 अरे नहीं एंड टू का स्कोर है सोचो 1 लाख किसी का स्कोर नहीं गया इस समय अभी पिछले साल से
So we listened. With Redmi Note 5 Pro, we are again bringing flagship grade performance to the Redmi Note series, and that's all thanks to Snapdragon 636. This completely destroys the performance of any phone in this segment. If you want performance or power, Redmi Note 5 Pro is the only phone to get. And if we compare it to the Snapdragon 625 in Redmi Note 4, it has over 59% better performance on Antutu. Now, 8x 853s are great, but for flagship grade performance, you need the Redmi Note 5 Pro. So last year, we talked about 14nm FinFET, and this is the reason why we avoided some other CPUs that you guys had asked for. We spent a lot of time talking about the benefits. And so we worked with Qualcomm, and we waited for Snapdragon 636 because it has the best of both worlds. The raw performance of Cryo along with the efficiency, thermal performance, and battery life from 14nm FinFET. So Redmi Note 5 Pro with Snapdragon 636, it has flagship DNA, and it still has 14nm FinFET for thermal performance and battery life. We work closely with our friends at Qualcomm to make this product. Larry Paulson, the president of Qualcomm India, is here today. Thank you so much for your hard work and support. And Larry was kind enough to share this quote with us on our collaboration. We're proud to collaborate with Xiaomi for the global debut of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 636 mobile platform. Sporting our latest Qualcomm Cryo semi-custom CPU, Snapdragon 636 makes Redmi Note 5 Pro a true performance beast. Thank you very much, Larry. We totally agree, by the way. So it's the best of both worlds. And we think it's exactly what you've been asking us for. Best-in-class performance in the Redmi Note series. But we're not done with performance yet. Redmi Note 5 Pro also has up to 6 gigabytes of RAM.
4GB, 6GB,
This is the first time ever in a Redmi series. 6 gigabytes of RAM. But it's not just about the size.
5G
We've also used the fastest type of RAM available in the market, LPDDR4X RAM. This is the same kind of RAM that you'll find in any flagship phone today. It's up to 35% more power efficient compared to LPDDR3 RAM, which is what you find in most phones in this price range. And it's 20% more power efficient than LPDDR4.
5G जब तक सही से ना आ जाए तब तक कोई फ़ोन ना दे।
So Redmi Note 5 Pro has amazing performance. Snapdragon 636 and up to 6 gigabytes of incredibly fast LPDDR4X RAM. It is the most powerful Redmi Note ever, and it is by far the most powerful phone that you can get anywhere
हम लोग
near
का
this
DDR3 में
price.
चल रहा था, सोचो DDR4 कितनी
तो
हाई
पतली हो
स्पीड
गई
की
क्या?
रैम हुई।
All right, now let's talk about design. Just like Redmi Note 5, Redmi Note 5 Pro is
आज कुछ
beautiful.
ज़्यादा अच्छी दिख रही हो।
So we have another great product video to show you. So let's take a look at that.
Yes, video।
क्या हुआ?
ये आया फोन
और कौन है?
फ्लैश के साथ। ये आईफोन की तरह काम है पीछे।
सब लोग पास में
पतला फोन है, बड़ा सा है।
आज पता है वो सशल दल बस्ता उड़ रहा है और हर जगह एंटी रबड़ी स्क्वाड घूम रहे हैं। अगर मिल गए कहीं धोखे तो आप पता, अगर मिल गए धोखे तो कटाई भी हो जाएगी।
18:9 की स्क्रीन पे है।
Thank you. Thank you.
क्या हम कहें तो अपने रूम में रहो ज़्यादा अच्छा
Thank
है।
you. Oh, sorry, I was getting some feedback there. Redmi Note 5 Pro, it's beautiful and modern. We have a similar tapered back cover to what we have in Redmi Note 5, and it curves perfectly in the edges. And if you'll notice in the demo zone, the corners are also a little bit different on Redmi Note 5 Pro. It fits really comfortably in your hand.
अरे नहीं, बैक पर ही लिए तो दे रहे हैं।
Here's the gold version, again,
नहीं,
elegant gold on the back,
एकदम पूरी
the white
बराबर है
front.
बैक कवर, यही लिए तो दे
But
रहे
probably
हैं।
more appropriate
बराबर
for
है।
today, the Valentine's Day pairing of the lake blue and rose gold. Actually, personally, I prefer the rose gold version. It looks really elegant. Again, check it out in person in a little bit.
बात चल रही है, देखो अगर
So here are all four.
इतने कलर में है, वही कलर में है जो कलर येलो कलर रेडी में की बात बताओ। ये अच्छा लगा था, ब्लैक वाला ये वाला
Lake blue, black,
आसमानी और ब्लैक
gold,
कलर वाला अच्छा
and
है,
rose
तो
gold.
ब्लैक बड़ा अच्छा
So that's performance and design.
जब गांव चलेंगे तो
But
साथ
the
ही
real
चलेंगे।
reason why you should buy this phone,
वैलेंटाइन डे
the
हो
real
जाएगा।
true power of this phone,
कहाँ करे भाई,
व्हाइट है ही नहीं।
व्हाइट कलर का हम दे हैं, इंता मत दे हैं, प्लास्टिक दे पाई व्हाइट कलर दे हैं।
Redmi Note 5 Pro is India's camera beast. It's got great performance, but the camera is awesome. And I can confidently say that this is the best camera of any smartphone that we've shipped here in India. So let's start first with the rear camera.
हाँ
The Redmi Note 5 Pro has a dual camera. I got a bunch of claps for that in the video. It's the first time we've ever shipped a dual camera in a Redmi Note smartphone. And it's a 12 megapixel IMX486 sensor from Sony, the main sensor. And the secondary sensor is a 5 megapixel color sensor to capture depth information. The rear camera comes with a portrait mode. And while the dual camera helps, as many of you know, software is as important, if not more important, than hardware when it comes to camera performance. And so we've been working on an AI-based computing engine specifically for our cameras. We have a camera team in our Mi Brain division. And for portrait mode, we use a process called semantic segmentation. This is based on our powerful deep learning algorithm. So semantic segmentation tries to understand and break down an image at a pixel level. It separates each pixel in a photo and tries to assign it to specific objects. So here, when you're in a portrait mode, there's two main objects. There's the object in the foreground, which is the person, and there's everything else in the background. And because of semantic segmentation, we can accurately determine which pixel goes where. So we know it's part of the foreground, and we can beautifully blur out the background. So let's take a look at some of these rear camera photos. It's pretty awesome, right? We started with this one because you can see the depth effect is really good. This guy really pops out in the photo. But importantly, the sensor quality shows up here in the details on his shirt. It's white on white, but you can still make out the details and the texture of his shirt pretty well. So here's another one. Again, the edge detection of our algorithm is really, really good. If you notice here, particularly around the hair and the shoulders, where the image starts to get dark, it's actually still sharp. And this is because of the semantic segmentation. So the background is rightly blurred, but the important details are still sharp and in focus. Now this photo is a favorite of a guy on our team. It really matches his personality, I think. It captures this guy's fun, playful, but yet serious spirit. All right, so all of the photos I just showed you were taken without any special equipment, of course. But the thing that makes the Redmi Note 5 Pro camera awesome, and the thing I want to emphasize, is that it makes it easy for anybody to take these types of photos. And the next few photos are by me fans, not professional photographers, although some of you might be professional photographers. And they're really cool. So this photo shows the portrait mode. And it's not difficult to use, but also important to note that this is on an object. This isn't on a person. The portrait mode works well on many different types of objects. Here again is another shot to show our HDR algorithm. All of these rocks are in focus, and there's beautiful colors everywhere in the image. This next photo is, I think, my favorite. I mean, look at that photo. This looks like it was taken on a DSLR, and this was not taken by a professional photographer. And the interesting thing here is there's actually 4 people in this photo. There's 2 people over there on the left, and there's a person right behind the baby in the foreground, and yet she is still in focus. Everything is blurred correctly. Even the edges here are sharp. It's pretty amazing. This is the power of AI-based semantic segmentation that we have in this camera. So I think this next thing you guys will like. For videos, Redmi Note 5 Pro comes with EIS. So that one, we heard your feedback. Put it in here. So now let's talk about the front camera. And actually, I think the front camera is even better than the rear camera.
Front camera, front camera की फोटो सबका बाहर कर दी.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite, this one or the swing is probably my favorite image of the ones we showed today, but this is particularly impressive because it's taken on a front camera. The bokeh effect is really good. You have good colors, deep blacks on her hair, her dress, her shirt comes out, the reds are nice. But again, importantly, there are 2 people in this photo. And the portrait mode is applied correctly. This is a major stumbling block for many, many different cameras which have portrait modes. So how do we do this? Well, this is our first phone ever which ships with portrait selfies. And as you can see from the previous image, the results are really great. Just like with the rear camera, we use our AI-based computing engine to make this happen. But unlike the rear camera, this is done with a single camera. So the deep learning algorithms here are key. And as I mentioned, and as you all know, software is really key for a great camera.
8 या 10
Android audio मिलेगा. Audio.
Right. So comparing Redmi Note 5 Pro to the iPhone 10 might seem like a stretch to some of you, but I encourage all of you to try it. Our algorithm is really, really, really good. Especially if we zoom in here. Not only the edge detections, but the details, the hair, everything is just better.
आईफोन से कंपेयर का आईफोन वाले केस नहीं कह सकते इनको.
ये ऐसे कुछ नहीं कर सकते हो. प्रेजेंटेशन है केवल. प्रेजेंटेशन में कुछ नहीं कर सकते हो तुम.
Right, so the Pixel 2 is considered one of the best cameras in the industry.
कंपनी बुराई भी करती है.
And both of these images are good.
अगर कंपनीज की ना.
But again,
तो इससे होता
If
है
we zoom in,
प्रेजेंटेशन का मतलब
while
ये
the
नहीं
Pixel
होता कि
2
बुराई
does a
करना,
better
ये
job
होता
than the
है
iPhone
कंपैरिजन
10,
करना कि
Redmi Note
हाँ
5
कैमरा
Pro
कितना बेटर
still
है,
has
हमारा
better
क्या
edge
ये होता
detection,
है।
and it still
नहीं
captures
तो
more
iPhone के
details
टक्कर
नहीं
than
जहाँ
there.
वही यहाँ नहीं
Our
इतना
portrait
वो
selfie
लागे ना
mode
तो
is
कंपनी लड़ाई
really
पर
amazing.
लागे कार्ड
अरे
डाउन
आईफोन के टक्कर के
अरे तो वो
थोड़े
बात
कहाँ
अलग
हैं।
है, ऊपर बात नहीं कही थी
लो
हम
लाइट सेल्फी
So the second problem we wanted to solve with the front camera is low light selfies, better low light
फ्लैश
photography.
में भी है 20 मेगापिक्सल
So we have a 20 megapixel front camera. It has a large f2.2 aperture, but it's not just any 20 megapixel sensor. It's also high quality.
वीवो से की गई है 40
बस
मेगापिक्सल
ये वही है करेंगे सोनी का देखो सोनी का सेंसर दिया गया है IMX 376
It's a 20 megapixel front camera, which is a IMX
जब सोनी
376
किसी
from
वो
Sony.
दिया है
That means we have
बहुत
Sony
जबर-
sensors
सेंसर
on both
बहुत
the front
जबरदस्त है।
and rear camera.
सोनी कह रहा वो जबर हो गई करी
ये लो लाइट की
And we
सेंसर
combine 4 pixels into
Microns
one in a
दिखा
process
रहा है,
that's called
compare
pixel binning.
करके।
You can see it here. The result of this is that
देखो,
each pixel
sensor
has less
इतना जबर
noise.
है
So I can run
मतलब।
this one more time. And so when we combine these 4 pixels, the effective pixel size is 2 microns. It's like a super pixel, and that means that it's really, really strong in low light. Redmi Note 5 Pro also comes with an LED selfie light. And we actually spent a lot of time optimizing the color temperature. We used a 4,500 Kelvin color temperature
हाँ ये
because
हमें
after
हो जाता
consistent
है
testing, we found that it produces
हमें
the
दिखाई
most
रुक जाओ
natural,
दिखाई
cool
रुक जाओ
white
दिखाई
light,
रुक जाओ
which actually looks good on your face.
दिखाई थी
So you can see how this all plays out in this photo. It's actually taken under very difficult conditions, but the selfie light and the 2 micron pixels from pixel binning make it seem like the lighting is actually good in this photo.
हाँ और मूवी देखा गया था पीवीआर में कौन सी बाहुबली आ रही
So the front camera has great low light performance and our awesome, what I consider to be best in class portrait selfie mode. It gives you 20 megapixel perfect selfie. So we have some more snaps here today. Let's take a look at some of those.
समझ लें कि एक का एक
So we have seen a lot of photos, a lot of front camera, particularly in portrait mode, where they get tripped up on glasses. And this image is really good because it keeps everything in focus and it doesn't lose recognition just because of the glasses. So everything is sharp and crisp here.
फोटो नहीं आती
I think this one is interesting because the algorithm can actually distinguish that this dark area is not his hair, which might be a reasonable mistake. It realizes that it's a plant. The semantic segmentation can blur it out, and if you look at that line on his neck, it's actually still sharp.
ई वाले माइक लावे छे के दीपा दीपा
This photo is great. The colors are awesome. And look at the contrast, particularly of the bee's image there on her shirt.
मीटिंग में जाओ भैया आप सबसे मिलते
कलर माइक
रहिए
आते
So today, we're also announcing Beautify 4.0. It's optimized through deep learning, and it's tuned specifically for India with tens of thousands of photos that we've taken here. And Beautify 4.0 works on both the front and rear camera.
करीब
So normal Beautify modes typically use a single filter that applies across your entire face. But with Beautify 4.0, we went into a lot more detail. So if you actually study how people do makeup, it's never with a single brush or mask. So we spent time trying to understand what makeup artists do. Starting from things like the skin cleanser, primer, blush. There are actually 12 primary steps
और का
to
सेल्फी
perfect
ज्यादा
makeup.
लेता है कोई बिटिया लेती है
And we had our engineers study each step. And that's because it's not easy to understand the effects and the differences of each of these steps if you're just looking at the final result. So Beautify 4.0 can intelligently identify different skin variations and adjust the algorithm based on what it detects.
करिएगा नवा आपको कौन
So this area highlighted here is what's called the T-zone. It's typically the most oily part of your face, and that's most prone to acne and clogged pores. So again, if you're using a single filter across your whole face, it might leave behind some blemishes here or oversmooth everything in the T-zone.
एक Redmi Note 5 कुत्ते का है
So you can see that Beautify 4.0 does this
एक
pretty
10,000
well.
का है एक 12,000 का है
Here again, looking at the blemishes, Beautify 4.0 smooths them out, but not her entire
बहुत
face.
जबर फोन
So if we look here
Note 5 Pro ले ले
at this part,
एक ही प्राइस पर देखे क्लियर बेटे
It smooths out the blemishes, but the rest of the face still has detail. You can still see contour lines. We can run it again and show you. So that's a key detail. It shows how powerful this algorithm is when it can recognize in great detail different parts of any image. Similarly, Beautify 4.0 works really well on eyebrows. Here you can see the typical Beautify algorithms. Because they're applying a single filter, they smooth out all the details and your eyebrows come out blurred. Whereas in Beautify 4.0, we can work around it. And unlike simple filters, with Beautify 4.0, we can make your lips look even more natural with a beautiful rosy tint. So I was talking about the tens of thousands of photos that we use to tune this here in India. And all of you know what a bindi is. But typically, these algorithms are not trained on Indian photos. And so something as simple as a bindi might look like a blemish which should be removed by your Beautify algorithm. And actually, we've seen a lot of phones that do that. So with Beautify 4.0, we can recognize the beauty on the forehead, the bindi on the forehead, and intelligently beautify the rest of the image. This also works really well with nose pins. Thank you. I think this one's also quite interesting. So because we trained this on faces of Indian men, we were able to tune it to preserve details of facial hair as well. So again, if you look at the typical algorithm, there's no detail in the beard. But if you compare it with Beautify 4.0, you can see individual details, hairs on his beard. So I'd like to give a big shout out to the dedicated camera tuning team to say that their hard work paid off. This camera is awesome. So that is the camera. It's the amazing portrait mode. More AI-based video I'll show you. And that's face unlock. So this is the first time we've ever released face unlock here in India, and it's actually faster than a fingerprint reader. It's pretty cool. So our face detection algorithm scans facial features in roughly 500 milliseconds using a high accuracy matching mechanism. And face unlock is coming soon. It'll be released via an OTA by the end of March.
Coming soon. OTA.
All right.
Price. Bye.
So we did some comparison to phones around this performance. And it's important to note that why we picked these phones out is that you can't find this kind of performance until you go up to phones of this price. And Redmi Note 5 Pro, it has everything. It has the flagship grade performance from the Cryo cores, 6 gigabytes of RAM. And that RAM is fast, LPDDR4X RAM, which actually the Galaxy S8 doesn't even have. And my personal favorite, it has a 4,000 mAh battery. You cannot get this kind of performance in a phone with a battery like this. If you use any of these phones, you will inevitably run out of battery. And that does not happen with Redmi Note 5. And then the camera is great. The dual camera on the rear and 20 megapixel front camera.
6 GB एक प्राइस एक्सपेक्टेड है 464 वाली 14,000
बाकी और कैमरा में सब वही है ना।
हाँ सब चीज़ें
हाँ तो यही तो लाइए 14,000
नहीं 6 GB देगा 6 GB।
So that's 2 phones today price. And Redmi Note 5 Pro, which again is the best camera we've ever shipped in a phone here. It has pretty much everything. We couldn't fit it on this slide. I don't know what else we could have added to this phone. And it's just 13,999 for flagship grade performance, 4 gigabytes of super fast RAM, and an amazing camera. And you get a 6 GB version at 16,999. So if for some reason
सेल वाले से
you are not
सेल को हम
entertained,
मिलवा नहीं सेल के अलावा
which I find highly unlikely,
ये तो बात
we do have one last
सेल
thing to
के
share
अलावा
with you.
मिली ना पिका करियो
And for that,
आखिरी
I'll call on my friend, Mr. Steve Sadler.
आखिरी बात बता
Thanks, Jay. Hello, everyone. My name is Sudeep. I'm a product manager here at Xiaomi. Now, some of you guys might recognize me. I used to sit in one of those chairs during a launch event. But today, I'm really excited to announce the last product introduction. Now, this product is something that you all have been asking us for the last 3 years. Can you guys guess it? We're bringing for the very first time Mi TV to India.
हाँ नई टीवी लॉन्च कर दी है पतली टीवी है वही बताऊँ काची जा रहा है
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. This is the first time we're bringing the TV outside China, and India is the first.